welcome to Art and VR.
Tonight we're throwing a futurist festival featuring our favorite underground artists and indie coders and developers.
So this was put together by the grace and the gratuity of all these wonderful artists who have come together and donated their time and their expertise and their art and their life to this show.
This is an effort to bring those people together, to get them to collaborate, to explore the work that they're doing and create new opportunities for work in the future.
Well, art is many things. I think everything is art.
So we're taking these traditional paintings and doing things with them that you can only do in virtual reality, like making them three-dimensional, adding emissive effects, having parts of the paintings come out and fly around.
I would say a combination of artists, music, and tech, all those things together, where the technology isn't just a fetish, but more so a means to an end.
It's been really interesting to see just how passionate and equally passionate people are about trying to make these experiences.
So that was from our last show.
Hey, this is Fifer again, and I'm Stuart, and we are Art and VR. The following slides that we're going to show are of artists that we have showcased in our previous shows, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and our goal is to bridge the gap between the art and technology worlds and empower indie content creators.
So, one thing that I think is very core is art, and without art in our lives, there is no creativity, and without creativity in our lives, there's no evolution. And modern society, evolution is kind of a core founding part of who we are. And so you think back to some of the most historic and known artists like Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo, these are all people that are scientists, they're civil engineers, they're philosophers that are running alongside the most new and newest technology that's out at that time, and they're creating alongside it.
And with this new medium where we are experiencing virtual and augmented realities, we have for the very first time the ability to have another person's direct experience. And direct experiences are our #1 way that we form our worldview. So if we have a wide berth of content creators all making these direct experiences for us, we have, I believe, the opportunity to really evolve our emotional intelligence as a species. But without a diverse realm of creators, if we are only producing commercial content, this might be a really insidious form of brainwashing. And so I'm involved in VR to try to steer it in a positive direction and empower other content creators to make this content that will allow us to have a united global consciousness.
So Art and VR at first was a concept and just an idea of just figuring out what kind of art is going to evolve within new technologies. I moved to San Francisco 2 years ago to come out and to continue my education at the San Francisco Art Institute. And my brother runs a co-working space out there for virtual reality and augmented reality. When I moved out there, I wanted to collide those two worlds and kind of start bridging that gap. So I started bringing artists from the school to the co-working space to try virtual reality for the first time. And the results I was getting, I was putting them into Tilt Brush, and the results I would get, I thought at first that sculpture and sculptors would pick up the medium the fastest, but it was astonishing to me that the painters were actually the fastest learners of this three-dimensional medium, and the sculptors were actually the slowest. So with that, I really started thinking about how there is art within virtual reality, that you can make it in virtual reality, but I wanted to see if there was art being made for virtual reality, like as if the program itself was an art piece. And so we started finding these artists that are within San Francisco Bay Area through these networks that Fifer and I came together to collide with. And we essentially brought together 30+ artists over time to create a beautiful network of just collaboration And we really wanted to build a show to get the art out there to people. And so we had our first show on June 22nd of last year, and it was a sellout show within a week of ticket sales. With that being said, we immediately realized that there was a need and necessity for having these shows in San Francisco and wherever we could find. So we continued having shows around the Bay Area and built up shows from anywhere from 200 people to 2,000 people. And every single show has gotten rave reviews so far, creating multi-sensorial events with augmented reality, virtual reality, projection mapping. And one of the big problems within the demo space is lines. So how we attacked that was by distraction. When you come to an event, you wait in line and you're twiddling your thumbs, but maybe a magician will come up and pull a chicken out behind your face or something like that. Or there's aerial acrobatics, clowns, magicians, comedians, musicians. Everything came together to create this event, and it's kind of where we're at now.
The other really beautiful thing about the past events we've had in San Francisco is this convergence of the art and tech worlds. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with this, but coming back to the Bay Area after having lived abroad, I realized that a lot of my art friends had to leave San Francisco because of the tech boom. The rent had quadrupled, and people who were making art could no longer afford to live there. And there is a lot of reticence within that community. They are not happy about techies. But the funny thing is, like, the goal is the same. Those two communities have very similar visions of a progressive society. And I really wanted to get my friends back together again. And at these shows, we've had a lot of success in getting these folks to not only have a dialogue, but work together. One of our artists who was in the underground art community in Oakland started collaborating with a projection mapping artist to make like a much more interactive, multi-sensory sculptural experience.
So one of the big questions that comes up within the art industry for virtual reality, Michael was touching on it earlier, but is how do artists monetize in a digital medium? And so we've come up with a few different platforms for that. The first platform we have is our show. What we do is it's a core value to us to pay our artists every single time we show them and every time that they are involved any way, shape, or form with art and VR. So another platform that we are currently building and would love collaborators if anybody is interested is the AR art gallery. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to establish the AR gallery where a user can come in, or a patron can subscribe to ARTandVR's library, and then they can have access to the entire library of art rather than purchasing one piece at a time, which is not viable for someone that just spent $3,000 on a setup, versus a $7.99 a month or something like that. What we want is the user, rather than the patron, to come into the patron's household and be able to tether onto the network that they've got and be able to visualize the art within the household.
Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing that we're interested in doing to encourage a new, a new generation of content creators is going to art schools. Both Stuart and I attended art school, and well, for myself, I had a very, very difficult time getting immersive media in my film school. And so having new genres be available to students, like students want that. Students want to be able to learn about VR and AR. They're emerging industries. There's a lot of job creation in that area right now. And this would also provide an amazing opportunity for our roster of artists to share their skills and share their passions. And for students to not feel like There's 360 video, there's, I'm gonna take a 360 video class, or I'm gonna take a Unity class. Like, all of these are tools for content creation in VR, and all of them are gonna co-evolve to something that is a much more realistic simulation. So I think that with this wide roster of artists we have, we'll start to see a new genre of sort of collaborative art within these mediums.
So far, our shows have been fully self-funded and have been highly successful, proving that the platform is a good one. But we are trying to expand at this point. We're looking for funding to be able to create an ecosystem for artists to come collaborate, collide, experiment, and create. We want to create a safe cooperative space where there is no competition, where people come together to unite as multiple creative minds. With that, we are acting as an agency for them, providing them with equipment and necessary needs that they have or come to us. It's trying to establish this network for them rather than having them be the businessmen themselves. As an artist, I don't want to sell myself. As a businessman, I want to take care of the people that I have under my wing. So we are trying to take that away from them and give it to them in a better way.
The other opportunity with having a cooperative space as opposed to a studio is being able to skill share with a lot of other people in their industry. And if we have a physical space for our artists to come that is styled as a co-op, our artists would be able to skill share with each other. So if you guys have tried to take a Unity course, it's usually around $500 for a workshop. And that's really not feasible for someone who's trying to produce indie content. However, if you're connected to this community, you'd be able to come in, attend a Unity course for free, and then the skill that you specialize in, you would be able to skill share with them. We'd also like to open up these courses to the public for a nominal fee, and then the profits from these classes would go back into the co-op ecosystem to continue to develop projects and further shows.
So with that, like I said, every single show has been an absolute success. So we are looking to go to larger scales. We're trying to do, so far every show has been a single day installation. What we have goals to do is create multi-day, multi-sensorial festivals for collaborators and artists and technologists to come and be in one ecosystem all together, bridging that gap.
So as we're looking to grow, we're interested in seeking investment. But before we look for investment from traditional VC or incubators, we're interested in opening up a funding round for our audience. Because of the co-op model and not a, bullish ROI initiative, I think having an audience funding round would be great. And for this, we've started a GoFundMe. And you're welcome to visit our website, which is ARTandVR.com. And the GoFundMe is on the website. If you contribute, you will be sent copies of artists' work to view if you're not in the States. And if you are in the States, you are always welcome to come to our shows. So we'll be in the back for a little bit. We brought a VR demo from one of our developers in San Francisco, Alessandro Sabatelli, which is really cool AR pass-through. And we'll be able to take your questions back there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.